Hi guys! Today we are going to be talking about dividing rational numbers. And Fox says when you divide rational numbers, you're going to use the same rules you used when dividing. Right, Fox? Right. All right, go do some dividing of rational numbers, Fox. So those rules that we use with integers are going to be used again with rational numbers. So if you are dividing two rational numbers with the same sign, your answer is going to be positive. If you are dividing two rational numbers with different signs, one's positive and one's negative, your answer will be negative. All right, so here we have a dividing rational numbers problem. We've got some fractions here. Negative 7/10 divided by 2/5. In order to do this, we're going to keep the first fraction, negative 7/10, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So when I say reciprocal, I mean we're going to flip the numerator and the denominator. So 2/5 is going to become 5/2. Now that I've got it as a multiplication problem, I can do some cross-reducing. So I saw that 5 and 10 were both divisible by 5, so I reduced them to 1 and 2. Made my problem a little easier. I multiplied across on top, and I got negative 7 times 1 is negative 7, and 2 times 2 is 4. So negative 7/4 is my final answer. That one is not in simplest form. I can change it to a mixed number, and it becomes negative 1 3/4. So let's try one together. So here we've got a division problem, but we're starting off with mixed numbers. So let's change those to improper fractions. So this will be negative 26/5, and this guy will become 7/3. Now to divide, I'm going to keep this first fraction, negative 26/5, and multiply by the reciprocal of my second fraction. So this guy's going to become 3/7. Don't see any cross-reducing that I can do here, so I'm just going to have to multiply across here. So negative 26 times 3, I get negative 78. And 5 times 7, I get 35. So negative 78/35 is my final answer, but this guy is not in simplest form. I can change him into a mixed number. 35 goes into 78 twice. That brings us up to 70 with 8 leftovers. So my final answer is negative 2 and 8/35. Here's some decimals that we're dividing. So we started off here with negative 3 and 45/100 divided by negative 15. So in this case, I put the 3 and 45/100 on the inside of my division problem and the 15 on the outside. I'm just dividing their absolute values. I'm not worrying about the signs right now. In fact, I don't really worry about the decimal much here either. Since I've only got a decimal on my inside number, it goes straight up into my quotient, and then I just forget about it. So 15 went into 3 0 times, but it went into 34 twice. So 2 times 15 was 30, and I had 4 leftovers. I brought down my 5 here. 15 went into 45 3 times, and I had 0 leftovers and nothing else to bring down. So my final answer was 0 and 23/100. And I do a double check here, and it would be positive because I'm dividing two negative numbers, which gives me a positive answer. So let's try this guy together. We've got 8 and 722 thousandths divided by negative 3 and 56/100. But I'm just going to write 3 and 56/100. Not going to worry about the signs right now. I'm just going to divide the absolute values. So in this case, I've got a decimal in both of my numbers here. So whenever I have a decimal outside of my little division sign here, I'm going to move this decimal over all the way to the bracket. So it's got to move 2 spots. So I'm also going to move this decimal 2 spots. Whatever I do to the outside, I do to the inside. And I'm going to bring this decimal up into my quotient. So 356 is my number now. 356 does not go into 8, does not go into 87. 356 will go into 872 twice. So that gives me $1,712. So I'm going to subtract here, and I'm going to have 160 left over, bring down my 2. So 356 will go into 1,602, I believe, 4 times. It's giving me 1,424. See what's left over here. We have 178 left over. So I need to add a 0 here and bring it down so I can keep the problem going. 356 will go into 1,780, I believe, 5 times. And finally, we have a remainder of 0. So our final answer is 2.45. But since I was dividing a positive and a negative, it's going to be a negative 2 and 45 hundredths. All right, finally, a word problem. So we have an investor here who owns stocks A, B, and C, and he wants to know what is the mean change in the value of his stocks. So they started off at a purchase value, an original value here, but this is what they're currently worth. So for stock A, the value of that stock has gone down $180.39. Stock B has gone up $127.28. And stock C's value has gone down $280.52. So to find the mean of this change, I'm going to have to add these 3 values up. So I'm going to start with my 2 negatives. So I add up their absolute values, and 180.39 and 280.52 add up to negative $460.91. Now I have to add in this guy, but since this is negative and this is a positive, I'm actually going to subtract them. 460 and 91 cents minus 127.28 leaves me with 333.63. But since this guy was negative and there's definitely more negatives, it's a negative $333.63. So this is how much he's lost at this time. But he wanted the mean value. So I'm going to have to take that number and divide it by 3 because we're talking about the value of 3 different stocks. I added up 3 things. So 3 goes into 3 once. And I'll bring down my next 3. 3 goes into 3 once. And I'll bring down my next 3. 3 goes into 3 once. This is where my decimal is going to go up into my answer, and I'll bring down my 6. 3 goes into 6 twice. Oh, almost running out of space, and I'll bring down my last 3. And 3 goes into this last 3 once. So in total, remember we were dividing, this number was a negative. He has lost $111.21. So his net loss is negative $111.21. Sorry, that's not his net loss, that's his mean change for his loss.